Title: The Secret in the Ice. It was one of those sweltering summer days in the quiet town of Maplewood, where the air felt thick and heavy, and the sun bore down relentlessly. Neighbors exchanged wary glances, the oppressive heat weighing on their mood as much as the air. The local news mentioned a heatwave, but it was the strange happenings at Phil Burnell's home that held the whispers of the neighborhood. Phil, a portly man with a scruffy beard, had become something of an oddity in the community. His wife, Kat, who was known for her bright laugh and love of oversized floral dresses, had vanished just over a year ago. At first, it had seemed like she might be taking a long vacation, perhaps seeking solace in a wellness retreat. But as the weeks turned into months, concern replaced curiosity. Phil's explanations grew stranger and more convoluted, until they felt more like excuses than truths. Now, with temperatures soaring and the electricity flickering, many began to ponder her fate. Phil spent his days outside in the oppressive heat, perpetually tinkering with his yard, his eyes darting nervously towards the garage, a grimy structure that had seen better days. The air was heavy with an unidentifiable odor, something both musty and sickly sweet that churned stomachs and raised eyebrows among the neighbors. Late one afternoon, as the sun dipped low in the sky, a group of concerned neighbors decided they could no longer ignore the stench. They gathered their courage and called the police, voicing their suspicions and worries about what may lie beyond that unassuming garage door. When the officers arrived, they were greeted by Phil, who wore a look of bewildered innocence. Despite his outward demeanor, the smell wafted into the air, saturating the immediate vicinity with an ominous hint. "Is everything all right, Phil?" one of the officers asked, casually peering into the slightly ajar garage door. Phil laughed nervously, wiping a bead of sweat from his forehead. "Oh, you know how it is. Just some old stuff in there. Nothing to worry about." But as the officers opened the garage door wider, the source of the smell became evident. There, amidst stacks of boxes and tools long forgotten, sat a large, frost-covered deep freezer. The icicles had started to drip into puddles on the concrete floor, and the sound of water splashing echoed in the stifling silence. "Phil, may we take a look inside?" one of the officers asked, a serious edge creeping into his voice. They could sense the tension in the air, a palpable weight that thickened with each passing moment. I don't think that's necessary," Phil stammered, his eyes darting. The officers exchanged a glance before lifting the lid. A collective gasp filled the garage. Inside lay Kat, her figure distorted and frozen, half melted in the deep freeze. She appeared eerily serene, her eyes still open, staring blankly into the void. In one frozen hand, she clutched a cheeseburger, and in the other, her beloved cat, Jasper, who had not survived the ordeal. The horrifying sight sent shockwaves through the officers, but the most daunting part was Phil's reaction. He staggered back, his face a mask of disbelief. "No, this can't be happening. I had nothing to do with this," he cried, collapsing onto the ground. The police quickly restrained him, leading him away for questioning, but it was my trolls. "They've been after me for years. They wanted to ruin my life and tear apart my family," Phil insisted, desperation tinging his voice. As they pulled him into the squad car, the townspeople gathered outside, shock and horror etched across their faces. Whispers of disbelief circulated. How could this happen in their seemingly mundane neighborhood? Detectives worked through the night, piecing together the timeline of Kat's disappearance. Each interview with neighbors painted a larger picture of a man spiraling into paranoia, haunted by imagined threats and real turmoil. The community learned that their quiet neighbor, whom they'd once seen as merely eccentric, was hiding something sinister beneath the surface. In the days that followed, as Phil faced charges of murder, the story of Kat's fate emerged like a ghost haunting the town. The months of silence shattered, revealing a narrative steeped in fear, isolation, and the shadows of mental struggles that led to this devastating conclusion. As summer gave way to fall, Maplewood would never forget. The furnace-like days of heat felt distant, replaced by a chill that lay heavy in the air, a constant reminder of the secret within the ice. The truth that had slumbered too long, frozen in time.